Right.
Yes.
Have you read that?
I think so. Lemon, slip soul, stream, X, that's all of it.
Yes, I believe that sounds right. Dear, all these guests come today and no names until morning. What do they think we are?
Oh, stop complaining, Ethel. Everything's shipshape now. Looks nice, don't it, Fred?
Enough of me. Kind of fair, but rich folks like places bad, it seems.
Which folks are quite strange.
And he was a strange sort of gentleman that built this place. Spent a wicked a lot of money on it, he did, and then gets tired of it, puts the whole thing up for sale.
Beats me why the owners wants to buy it. Living on an island.
Oh, quit your grousing, Ethel. We'll be here in a minute now. Take all that stuff out into the kitchen, will you?
Making that steep climb an excuse for a drink, I suppose. Like some others I know.
Ah, that be young Jim. I'll be getting along now. There's 2 guests arriving by car on this thing.
Oh, before you leave, I shall want 5 loaves of bread in the morning. And 8 pints of milk. Remember?
Right.
Oh, and don't forget the oil for the engine, Fred. I have to charge up for tomorrow, or I'll have the lights running down.
It was held up on railway. It's at the station now. I'll bring it across the first thing tomorrow.
And give a hand with the luggage, will you?
Right.
Mother, I forgot to give you the guest list.
Oh, thank you, darling. Look here. Doesn't seem a very classy lot to me. Miss Claypool, she'll probably be the secretary.
Oh, I do not hold much with secretaries. Worse than hospital nurses. Give themselves all the airs and graces and then looks down upon the servants.
Well, you better run along to that lovely, fancy, expensive, up-to-date kitchen of yours now.
Too many newfangled gadgets for my fancy.
And I told him I don't know anything about pasta, but I love some macaroni. Oh, Italian food is so funny.
Good evening.
Well, so this is it.
How perfectly lovely. Claypool, Mrs. Charters. Good evening, miss. Will you take a look at the Captain of Honor? Sorry, wait a minute. You've been here before?
No, but I've heard a lot about the place.
From Mr. and Mrs. Owen?
No, from an old pal of mine, Johnny Brewer. He built this place. It's a sad and poignant story.
A love story?
Yes, indeed, the saddest of all. He fell in love with the famous Lily Logan. Bought this island and built the place for her. Oh, poor Johnny. He thought that by cutting her off from the world, with not even a telephone as a means of communication, he could hold her.
And of course, the fair Lily tired of her ivory tower and escaped.
Yes, Johnny went back to Wall Street, the place was sold, and he made a few more millions.
And here we are. Well, I also find Mrs. Owen. The others will be up in a minute.
Oh, it would be quite rude to leave me by myself, wouldn't it?
Would it? Oh, well, I wonder where she is.
No, she'll come along when she's ready. I'm quite thirsty. Mind if I have a drink?
Yes, of course you could.
What's yours? You must be thirsty after that steep climb.
Oh, no, not for me. Not on duty.
Good secretary is never off duty.
Really, this is exciting.
What is?
All this, the smell of the sea, the gulls, and this lovely house. I am going to enjoy myself.
I think you are. I think we both are. Here's to you. You're very lovely.
Oh, where is Mrs. Owen? Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Owen won't be down from London until tomorrow. It's like I thought you knew. Tomorrow? And one is here, the guest expected if you'd like to have it. Yes, thank you. Oh, how awful. I say you will be sweet and company, won't you?
Oh, I won't move from your side.
You know, it seems silly to have only us on the first boat or the rest on the second.
That was design, I'm afraid, not acting.
Design, what do you mean?
Well, I suggested to the boatman that there was no need to wait for the other guests, and that and a few shillings we started up the engine.
Oh, you shouldn't have done that.
Well, they're not a very exciting lot, are they?
I think that young man was rather nice looking.
No, he's young. Very, very young. Callow, definitely.
I suppose you think a man in his 30s is more attractive.
So I don't think, my darling, I know.
Was it nice to go here?
I'm so the secretary. Mrs. Owen has been taken tonight, and I'm afraid we'll be down until tomorrow.
Oh, too bad.
May I introduce Captain Ward, Mr.
Anthony Marston.
Have a drink, Mr. Marston?
Yes.
This is a whiskey.
Yes.
Wonderful place you got here. I'm Mrs. Owen's secretary. Mrs. Owen has been taken to London, I'm afraid, and we'll be down until tomorrow.
Say when?
What was it?
Oh, well, hello. Dina Davis is the name?
Greetings, Captain Lombard.
Ah, nice to meet you.
Have a drink, Miss Davis?
Ah, yes, please. And you are, Mr. Marston. Oh, it's very nice to meet you, Mr. Marston. Thank you so much, Lamba. Oh, it was quite a time up here, but the height of the view reminds me of South Africa, this place.
It does. You've been to South Africa?
Oh, yes. Natal, Durban, do you know South Africa?
Me? No, not at all.
Oh, well, that's where I'm from. That's my Natal state. Finest country in the world, I should say. Gold, silver, diamonds, oranges. It's all the blue we want. Talk about a land flowing with beer and skittles.
How are you?
Oh, Mrs. Evans' secretary. Miss Nana will be my room.
May I introduce Captain Ladd, Mr. Marston, Mrs.
Oh, Dear Davis. Nice to meet you.
Back to your drink, General? Soda?
Say, for the service?
Formerly in the King's African Rifles. Much too boring at peacetime, so I dropped it.
Where is Miss Evans? I'm Mrs. Evans' secretary. Mrs. Evans has been taken in
London. It won't be down until tomorrow.
Extraordinary. Did she miss a drink? I expect so. Will she have something? May I introduce Captain Ladd, Mr. Marston, General Mackenzie, I think you'll know one of those, and Mrs.
Dear Davis, today.
Back to your drink, Miss Brown?
I suppose no young man lady left us standing out there on the wall.
Miss Brent, I was to think that. I will
It seems to me most extraordinary that Miss Evans should not be here to receive the guest.
Captain, just the type of person who can't help us in
That's what I reckon she is.
Perhaps it was her husband's fault?
She hasn't got a husband. Would you like to go to my room?
Yes, of course, thank you.
Miss Rogers is upstairs. She'll take you to your room.
Oh. Hello, sir. I'm afraid our host and hostess haven't arrived yet. Name's Captain Lombard. Yours?
Mine's Wargrave. How do you do?
How do you do? Have a drink, sir?
Yes, please.
A wonderful place you got here. Quite unique. Say, my name is Christina Davis. How are you?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, yes. You drink?
Oh, Badger Becker was up yet?
Who?
Badger Becker, you're up here with the show. When's he coming?
I don't think there was a name of Badger Berkeley anywhere on the guest list.
The dirty old double-crosser. He's let me down. What a Wizard Island, rather. It was a girl, that secretary. Shucks my things up. I say, what about a drink before dinner this time?
Yes, why not? Let's go explore.
How was it?
Things are a bit at 6s and 7s with the old not turning up.
Trippy, I say, what's going on there?
Sit down.
Well, to tell you the truth, you seem to be in my seat.
Oh, my apologies. I did not realize you were one of the family.
Not exactly, but you see, I've never been here before, but I live at the Benton Club. I have for the past 10 years. And my seat is right about there.
It becomes a bit of a habit.
Indeed it does. I was a little surprised when I got the invitation. I haven't had anything of the sort in well over 4 years. It was nice of them, I thought.
Yes.
Can I have your key, sir?
Is Lady Constance Collington expected here? Can you tell me?
Lady Constance Collington. No, I don't think so, unless she's coming down with the Owens.
Oh,
Can I have your coat, sir?
I'll keep it on, thank you.
Can I have your key, sir?
No, thank you. I'll pack myself.
Dinner is at 8 o'clock. Shall I show you to your room?
Please.
I'll go too.
Here you are, Doctor.
Thank you. What are you
I'll call Rogers.
Hello, I'm Gina Davis.
My
Armstrong.
Oh, Dr. Armstrong, I knew.
Yes.
I thought so. I never forget your face.
Don't tell me I forgot one of my patients.
Oh, no, it's nothing like that. I once saw you in court go giving expert evidence.
Oh, really? Are you interested in the law?
Well, I'm from South Africa, so naturally the legal processes in this country are bound to interest a colonial.
Oh, yes, of course.
I say, would you like a drink?
Oh, no, thank you. I never touch it.
Do you mind if I continue having mine?
Not really. Go ahead.
Well, I've been having a look around the island, Dr. Armstrong. It's a wonderful place, isn't it?
It's wonderfully restful. But there are a bit of peace.
Well, it's too peaceful for the summer, I need to say.
It's wonderful for the nurse. I'm an anesthetist, you know.
Yes, I know that.
I'm noted down. Dropped another patient on the way. Great improvement. Wonderful response.
Oh, that's so good. That's the best part of 200 miles from London, isn't it? How long did it take you?
I didn't hurry. I never hurry. It's bad for the nurse. But a man last time found me who drove me to a ditch near Amesbury. Shot past me about 80 miles per hour, I'd say. Racing was driving.
Yes.
I'd like to have his number.
And if more people would take the number of those young road hogs nowadays, the world would be so much safer.
You say it now. Excuse me. I must have a word with Mr. Owens.
Oh, but Mr. Evans will be down, so... Mrs. Rogers? Mrs. Rogers? Mrs. Rogers? Wait, ma'am. Yes. Take my hat, won't you? Thank you. What time is supper? Dinner is at 10 o'clock, ma'am. About a quarter of an hour. I think tonight's dressing will be optional. Sounds good. Say, how do you make your long? Just under a week, ma'am. A week? That's all? Yes, ma'am. So I don't suppose you know much about the group that's here? No, ma'am. Not all friends of the families? I really couldn't say, ma'am. That's too bad. Oh, promise. Yes, ma'am. Can you do me a favor and get some sandwiches and a bottle of beer in my room at night? And I'll have an appetite for the sea air. I'll see what I can do, ma'am. Oh, thank you. Oh, and now, Mrs. Rogers. Yes, ma'am. Come here. I'll see you won't lose one. Now then, show me to my room. Yes, right this way, ma'am. Thank you. I need to wash and brush up straight away.
Oh, there you are, Mother. You ought to give me a hand with these dirty glasses. Here I am with a four-course meal on my hands, no one to help me. The least you could do is help with the dishing out. Who was that you were talking to there, by the way?
Dina Davis, South African madam. No class, if you ask me, and no money either.
I don't like her. Don't like any of them much. You like the lot we had from boarding school. But they really don't have that much money now.
Yes, I know. I mean, Davis gives out she's a millionaire of some sort. I mean, you should look at her underwear. They're as cheap as they make them.
Well, as I said, it's not treating us right. All these guests coming today and no maids until the morning. I mean, what do they think we are?
Oh, everything's fine now, and besides, the money is good.
So it ought to be. Catch me going to the service again if the money wasn't good.
Well, it is good, so what are you going on about?
Well, I can tell you this, Mother. I'm not saying any place won't get torn. I'm a good cook. A great cook.
First rate, darling.
But I'm a great cook. I've no business doing housework. You know, if I had any mind at all, I'd put my hat and my coat on and straight back to Plymouth.
Well, you can't do that, darling.
And why not?
Because you're on an island, or have you forgotten, dear?
Yes, perhaps I had forgotten, but you know, I don't know that I fancy being on an island.
No, can't say that I do either. No slipping down to a pub or off to a picture show. Oh well, it's double wages on account of the difficulties, and there's plenty of beer in the house.
That's all you ever think about. Beer.
Oh, quit your complaining. Head along to the kitchen or else your dinner will be spoiled.
It'll be spoiled anyway, I suspect. All these
advantage between the two of you?
Yes, thank you, miss. My daughter talks a lot, but she can sit down.
Oh, what a lovely evening.
Yes, indeed, the weather seems very settled.
How plainly one can hear the sea.
A pleasant sound.
Hardly a breath of wind and delicious warm. Not like England at all.
I should have thought you might feel a little uncomfortable in that dress.
Oh no.
It's rather tight, isn't it?
Oh, I didn't think so.
You'll excuse me, my dear, but you're a young girl. You've got your living to earn.
Yes.
A well-bred woman doesn't like her secretary to appear flashy. It lets you know as though you were trying to attract the attention of the opposite sex.
And would you say I do attract her?
That's besides the point. A girl who deliberately sets out to get the attention of men won't be likely to keep her job long.
Oh, surely that's the one she's looking for.
Really, Miss Claythorne?
Aren't you being a little unkind?
Young people nowadays behave in the most disgusting fashions.
Disgusting.
Yes, low-back evening dresses lying half naked on beaches, or the so-called self-mating. An excuse for immodest conduct, nothing more. Familiarity, Christian names, drinking cocktails. And look at the young men nowadays, decadent. Look at the young Marston, look at his he, not Captain Lombard.
What do you object to in Captain Bar? I should say this man has led a very, very interesting life.
The man's an adventurer. Well, this younger generation is never good, never at all.
We don't like you. I see.
What do you mean?
I was just remarking that you don't like young people.
A reason why I should? Right.
Oh, no, but it seems to me you must miss an awful lot.
You're very pertinent.
I'm sorry, but that's just what I think.
The world will never improve until we step out of Woodstein.
Quite pathological.
What did you say?
Nothing.
And what about the old boy?
It was one of the tortoise things.
Don't all judges look like tortoises. They have that devilish way of darting their heads in and out. Mr. Justice Wargrave is no exception.
I hadn't realized he was a judge.
Yes, he's probably been responsible for sending more innocent men to their death than anyone else in England. Oh, Vera, have you two met Dr. Armstrong, Miss Vera Claythorne? You and the doctor were just saying
Yes.
that.
I heard.
And so cute, I think.
Oh, Sir Lawrence.
Miss Grant.
Yes, there's something I want to ask you. Maybe you can pick on this.
Of course. Mama, we find that.
Absolutely, Wizard Pop. Supercharged for my fun. You don't see many of them on the road. I can get over 100 of them.
Oh, Mr. Marston. Did you come from London?
Yes, 208 miles, and I did it in a bit over 4 hours. Too many cars in the road, though. Touched 90 going over Salisbury Plain. Not too bad.
I think you drove past me on the road.
Did I?
You nearly drove me to a ditch.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If I'd seen you known, I'd have reported you.
But you were fussing around in the middle of the road.
Fussing? Me? Why does anyone say that? Nice drink.
Good idea. What do you have on this one?
No, thank you.
Good evening, Mrs. Owens.
Why, Mrs. Evans?
You'd make the most wonderful wife for any wealthy businessman.
You always flash outrageously.
Always.
Oh, well, now we know.
Hey, what do you think the judge is talking to Miss Brent about upstairs? She tried to buttonhole him earlier.
Honey, she seemed so definite that there wasn't a Mr. Owen.
You don't think that Mr. and Mrs. Owen, that they don't, there isn't a,
Damn shame we don't know each other. I could have given you a lift down. So it was bad. Love to show what I could do across Salisbury Plain. Tell you what, how will we drive back to it?
But
But it sounds silly. I could have had an empty car.
yes, and she quite likes the way that she's going back.
oh, look how sweet. This is it. The time to search for us. Isn't that a fine?
What soldier boys, what rhyme?
Ten little soldier boys going out to die. One choked his little self, and another not. 9 little soldier boys sat up very late. One overslept himself, and then there were 8.
8 little soldier boys traveling in Devon. One got left behind, and then there were 7. What is this?
Ladies and gentlemen, silence please! You are charged with these indictments that you did respectfully tonight the first time committed the following. Mary Armstrong, that you did cause the death of Louisa Mary Cleese.
No,
Wilma Helena Ballard, that you brought about the death of James Stephen Landor. Emily Caroline Brent, that you were responsible for the death of Beatrice Taylor. Vera Elizabeth Claythorne, that you killed Peter Ogilvie Hamilton. Philip Lombard, that you are guilty of the deaths of 21 men, members of an East African tribe. John Gordon Mackenzie, that you sent your wife's lover, Arthur Richmond, to his death. Anthony James Marston, that you were guilty of the murder of John and Lucy Combs. Teresa Rogers and Ethel Rogers, that you brought about the death of Jennifer Brady. Lawrence John Wargrave, that you were guilty of the murder of Edward Seton. Prisoners at the bar, have you anything to say in your defense?
Let her sit down.
You all right, dear? Hi. She okay?
Doctor, she's all right. She went through this all. She'll be right in a minute. Get some brandy. Oh, Mrs. Rogers, why don't you get some brandy?
Right. What is this?
Where do you think the voice was coming from?
Yes, Al, where the devil did that voice come from? You're quite right, my lord. Here it is!
You are charged with these indictments that
Disgraceful and heartless practical joke.
You think it's a joke, do you?
What else could it be?
At the moment, I'm not prepared to give an opinion.
Who the devil turned it on and said it going?
We must inquire into that.
Allow me. Oh dear. Oh dear. Dear, oh dear. Doctor, did I faint? Yes, but it's just a nasty turn. It was the voice. It was the voice. It was like the judgment. Where's the brandy? Oh, no, here I'll get it.
Calm down, Ethel. Everything's all right now. It's all right. Do you hear? Hold yourself together.
Just give me a turn.
Oh, gave me a turn too. Wicked lies of all us. I'd like to know what kind of person.
Who was it that put the record on the gramophone and set it going? Was it you, Rogers?
I was just obeying orders, sir. That's all.
Well, whose orders?
Mr. Evans.
All right, let me get this quite clear. Mr. Owen's orders were what exactly?
I was to put a record on the gramophone in the study. I was to find the records in a drawer there. I mean, it had a name. I thought it was just to give you all some music.
Does the record have a name?
Yes, sir, it's entitled Swan Song.
That's preposterous. Absolutely preposterous. Slinging accusations about like this. Something must be done about it. This fellow Owens, whoever he is.
That's just it. Who is he?
That is what we must go into very carefully. I suggest you get your daughter to bed, Mrs. Rogers, then come back here.
Right, sir.
I'll give her a hand.
Come on, dear.
Oh, wish you be all right, Doctor.
She'll be quite all right.
Don't know about you, sir, but I feel I need another drink.
I agree.
Whiskey, please, children.
Yes.
I should like a glass of water, please. Yes, I'll get this. I could do with some whiskey, too.
She'll be all right. I've given her sedative.
Now, you doctor, you want to drink after all this?
No, thank you. I don't touch it.
No. You had this one, gentlemen?
Yes.
All right, Mrs. Rogers, it's time we get to the bottom of this. Tell us everything that you know about Mr. Owen.
Well, he owns this place, sir.
I'm aware of that fact. I would like you to tell me what you yourself know about the man.
Well, not much. You see, I've never seen him before.
Don't
I've
know.
never seen him.
My daughter and I, we were engaged by letter through a registry office, the Regina in Plymouth. That's a high-class firm. You can check on that.
Have you got the letter?
The letter engaging us? Yes, sir. Here it is.
Go on with your story.
Well, my daughter and I, we arrived here like the letter says on the form. Everything was in order.
What then?
Then we received word to prepare the house for a house party, and then we received word that Mr. and Mrs. Owen might be detained, and if so, we was to do the best we could and give us the instructions about dinner and the gramophone record.
Have you got that letter too?
Yes, sir, I'll go get it. Here you are.
Headed Ritz Hotel in typewriter.
Coronation machine number 5. Quite new and signed paper. Most common make and shan't get much out of this.
Quite a little detective.
Got some fancy Christian names, hasn't he? Ulrich Norman Owens. Quite the mouthful.
I'm obliged to you, Mr. Marston. You have brought my attention to a curious and suggestive point. I think the time has come for all of us here to pool our information. It would be wise to come forward with any information regarding our unknown host. We are all his guests. I think it would be profitable to find out exactly how that came about.
This whole thing is very peculiar. I received a letter with a signature that was not very easy to read. It wanted to be from a woman whom I met at a certain summer resort 2 or 3 years ago. I took the name to be odd, and I'm quite certain I've never met or become friendly with anyone of the name Owen.
Have you got the letter, Miss Brent?
Yes, I'll fetch it for you.
Miss Claythorne.
I never actually met Miss Terry. I wanted a holiday coach to apply to a secretarial agency. This Reynolds in London. I was offered this post and applied.
And you were never interviewed by your prospective employer?
No. This is the letter.
Soldier Island, Sticklehaven, Devon. Miss Vera Claythorne, I received your name from Miss Grenfell's agency. I understand that she knows your name personally. I should be glad to pay you the salary that you ask, and shall expect you to take up your duties on August 8th. The train is the 12:10 from Paddington, and you will be met at Oakwood Station. I enclose £5 for expenses. Yours truly, Una Nancy Owen. Mr. Marston.
Don't actually know the Owens. Got a wire from a pal of mine back in Berkeley. He told me to come here. Surprised me a bit. I had an idea the old horse had gone to Norway. I haven't got the letter.
Dr. Armstrong.
Well, under the circumstances, I think I made it. The my visit was professional. You see, Mr. Owens was worried about his wife's health, and he wanted a report, so he therefore suggested that my vizier be regarded as out of an ordinary guest.
You had no previous acquaintance with the family,
No.
yet you had no hesitance in obeying the summons?
A colleague of mine was mentioned, and very handsome fee was suggested. It was due for a holiday.
Thank you. Dear Miss Brent, I do hope you remember me. We were together at Bellhaven Guest House in August some years ago, and we seem to have so much in common. I am starting a guest house of my own off an island off the coast of Devon. I think there's really an opening for a place where there is good plain English cooking and a nice old-fashioned type of person. None of this nudity and gramophones happening. I shall be very glad if you could see your way to spending your summer holiday on Soldier Island as my guest, of course. I suggest August 8th, 12:40 from Paddington to Oakbridge. Yours sincerely, U.N. Owen. Yes, the signature is slightly ambiguous.
I liked the nudity touch.
Here is my own legal letter from an old friend of mine, Lady Constance Culmington. She writes in her usual vague, incoherent way, urges me to join her here, and speaks of our host and hostess in the vaguest of terms.
Look here, I just thought so.
In a minute.
No, it doesn't.
We will take things slowly, Captain Lombard. General Mackenzie.
Got a letter from the fellow Owens. He mentioned a few cronies of mine that would be here. I thought I'd met the clubs at some time in the past. I haven't kept the letter, I'm afraid.
Thank you. Captain Lombard.
Same as all the rest. Got a letter from Mr. Owen. Mentioned mutual friends. I haven't catched the letter either.
We have just gone through a somewhat disturbing experience. A seemingly disembodied voice spoke to each of us by name, uttering certain definite accusations. We will deal with these accusations presently. I, however, am interested in a minor point. Among the names mentioned was that of Wilma Helena Blore, but as far as we are aware, there is no one named Blore here.
That's true.
The name of Davis was not mentioned. Have you anything to say to that, Miss Davis?
Well, the cat's out to the bag, it seems.
What do you mean?
I'm about to say my name is Dina.
You are Wilma Helena Blore?
That's right.
I will also add that not only are you here under a false name, but you're also a first-class liar. You claim to have come from the tall South Africa. I know South Africa quite well, and I'd be willing to say you haven't been there once in your life.
You folks have got me all wrong. I'm an ex-CID woman.
No, a copper.
I got my credentials and I can prove it. I run a detective agency in Plymouth. I was put onto this case.
By whom?
Why, Miss Owens gave me a nice money order for expenses and I was account posing as a dinner guest. Gave me a list of all of your names and said I was to keep an eye on all of you.
Any reason given?
Well, said Mrs. Owens has some valuable jewels.
No, I've never heard anything of the sort.
Now listen, Mrs. Owens, my foot, I don't suppose such a person exists.
Your conclusions are, I think, justified. You look Norman Owen. You know Nancy Owen. Each time, that is to say, U.N. Owen, or, by a slight stretch of fancy, unknown.
But it's fantastic, man.
Oh, I've no doubt you've been invited here by a madman. Possibly a dangerous homicidal lunatic.
Oh my God!
Whoever it is who has enticed us here has taken a very great deal to find a lot of information about us. A very great deal. And out of this knowledge have come certain definite accusations.
This is all their
I was saying this! Our unknown friend has accused me of the murder of Edward Seton. I remember Seton perfectly well. He came before me for trial in June of 1930. He was accused of the murder of an elderly woman. He was ably defended and made a good impression on the jury from the witness box. Nevertheless, on the evidence, he was certainly guilty. I summed up as such, and the jury brought in a verdict of guilty. In passing sentence of death, I fully concurred with this verdict. The appeal was lodged on the grounds of misdirection, the appeal was dismissed, and the man was duly executed. I wish to say that my conscience is perfectly clear on that matter. I did my duty and nothing more. I passed sentence on a rightfully convicted murderer.
Did you know Seton at all? I mean, personally.
I knew nothing of Seton previous to the trial.
The old boy's lying, I swear it.
The fellow's a madman. He's got a bee in his bonnet. This whole thing is best to be left unanswered. Nothing he said about young Arthur Richmond was true either. He was one of my men. He was killed. Also, what that record said about my wife was a slur on her name. She was wonderful. She's been dead a long time.
I've just been thinking. John and Lucy Combs must have been the couple of kids I ran over near Cambridge. Beastly bad luck.
For them or for you?
Well, I was thinking for me, but of course you're right, it was bad luck for him as well. It was an accident. They ran us some cottage or other. I had my license suspended for a year. It was a beast news.
This speeding, it's all wrong! It's young men like you are dangerous in this community.
It was an accident.
Might I say a word, sir? There was mention, sir, of me and my daughter and Miss Jennifer Brady, but not a word that is true. You see, we were put upon to take care of Miss Jennifer Brady in her final days. She was very, very ill, sir, from the moment we came to her. The night she died, it was a storm. The telephone was out of order, we couldn't get the doctor. I went for him, sir, on foot, but by the time he arrived, it was too late. She died. But there was never a word said against us. I mean, we did everything we could for her. There was never a word said against us.
Came into a nice to something out of death, I suppose.
Miss Brady left us a
Well, your name was on the list.
Yes, I know. Landing, you mean? That was London and commercial bank robbery.
I remember the name, though it didn't come before me. Lander was convicted on your residence. You were the police officer in charge of the case.
I was, my lord.
Lander got penal servitude and died in Dartmoor a year later. He was a delicate man.
He was a crook. It was who put the night watchman out. The case was clear from the start.
You were commended, I think, on your able handling of the case.
I got my promotion. I was only doing my duty.
Convenient word, duty. What about you, Doctor?
I'm at a loss to understand the matter. The name meant nothing to me. What was it? Close? Clues? The whole thing's a mystery to me. I don't remember having a patient of that name or being connected to a death of any kind. But I suppose it could have been one of my operation cases in the hospital. They come so late to many of these people. And then when this patient dies, it's always the surgeon's fault.
And then it's better to give up surgery altogether and take up nerves. Some, of course, give up drink.
I protest! You have no right to insinuate!
I
I never touch alcohol.
I wasn't insinuating anything. Besides, it's only Mr. Owens who knows all the facts.
Miss Claythorne.
I was a nursery governess at Peter Hamilton. We were out in Cornwall for the summer. He was forbidden to swim out far. One day when my attention was distracted, he started off. I swam after him, but I couldn't get there in time.
Was there an inquest?
Yes, I was exonerated by the court. His mother didn't blame me either.
Thank you. Miss Brent.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing.
Nothing.
You, reserve your defense.
There's no question of defense. I've always acted according to the dictates of my conscience.
Well, what an upright lot we all seem to be. Myself excluded.
We are awaiting your story, Captain Lombard.
No, I haven't got the story.
What do you mean?
It's perfectly true what they said. I killed those men. It was a matter of self-preservation.
So you admitted it? Horrible death. Oh my God. Admitted? You killed those men?
Yes, it wasn't quite the act of a proper gentleman, but self-preservation is a man's first duty.
You abandoned your men?
Our inquiry rests there. Now, Mrs. Rogers, you are quite certain that the only people left on this island are ourselves, you and your daughter, correct?
Quite sure, sir.
Thank you. Don't go yet, Mrs. Rogers. I am unclear as to the purpose of our unknown host and gathering this year, but in my opinion, he is not sane in the accepted sense of the word. He could be dangerous. I think it would be best to leave this island as soon as possible. I suggest that we leave here tonight.
You'll pardon me, sir, but there's no boat on this island. Excuse me?
No,
boat? No, sir.
Why don't you telephone to the mainland?
Well, there's no telephone either. Fred Narracott, he comes in the morning, he brings bread and milk in the post and the papers, and he takes the orders.
But it's Scorsese! Ought to bear to the mystery before we go. Whole thing's like a detective story. Positively thrilling.
At my time of life, I have no desire for thrills.
Legal ensnaring. I'm all for crime. Here's to it!
All right, now. Are you okay?
He's dead!
Dead? You mean the fellow just choked and died?
You can call it choking if you like, but he died of asphyxiation. Right enough.
I knew a fellow could die like that. It's time for choking fit.
Middle of life, lies then.
This man is in this town where choking fit got over Kenzie. Monster's death isn't what we call natural.
Was there something in his whiskey?
Yes, it might have smelled with cyanide. No, it's probably potassium cyanide. It acts pretty instantaneously.
Poor fellow must have put it in his drink himself.
So it's suicide? That's Rumgo.
You'd never think he'd commit suicide. He was so alive. He was enjoying himself.
Look, here's a soldier bullet falling off the mantelpiece. Broken.
still told. No sign of the boat yet.
Very angry still.
Yes, still the fellow who brings milk and bread and all that should be here by now. Where's breakfast and Mrs. Rogers anyway?
But let's not worry about breakfast.
How's the weather looking?
Rather an apple sky. Old boy at the train station yesterday said that we were due for some dirty weather. Should suppose he was right.
I wish that boat would come. The sooner we get off this island, the better. It's absurd not to see the boats on the island at all.
No proper harbor. If the wind comes to blow from the southeast, the boat would get dashed against the rocks.
But the boat would always be able to make us from the mainland.
No, Miss Brent, that's just what it wouldn't.
Are you saying we are completely cut off from the land?
Yes! Condensed milk, river time, and tin stuff, the gale has blown itself out. But if you needn't worry, the sea's only a bit choppy.
I think the pleasures of living on an island are rather overrated.
I wonder when that boat's coming. It's annoying when houses stuck up against the cliffs. One can hardly see the mainland from going to the top. Shall we go again?
It's no good, Doctor. Watch pot never boils. Besides, there wasn't a sign of a boat putting out when we were up there just now.
What can these men now be doing?
You know, they're all like that in Devon. Never hurrying themselves.
And where's Mrs. Rogers? She'll to be about.
If you ask me, Mrs. Rogers had a pretty bad shock last night.
No, it's ghastly the whole thing.
If you ask me, she and her daughter did do that old lady in.
You really think so?
Well, yes. You never saw a woman more scared. Guilty as hell, I should say.
Fantastic. This whole thing, fantastic.
Say, suppose she solved it.
Who? Mrs. Rogers?
Yes.
But there's no way she could. There's no boats on the island.
Yes,
That's
I've been thinking. We've only Mrs. Rogers' word for that. Suppose there is one and she's nipped it off in the first thing.
Oh no, she wouldn't be allowed to leave the island.
Oh. Have a nice sleep, General.
Yes, I dreamed.
I didn't wonder at that, General.
I dreamed of my wife, Elizabeth.
Ah, yes. Wish that boy Narracott would come.
Who's Nara?
Oh, the bloke who brought us over yesterday afternoon.
Was it only yesterday?
I feel like that too. Ratty gramophone records, suicides. It's all a woman can stand. I shan't be sorry to see the back of Soldier's Island. I give you my word.
Oh, so you don't understand? How strange.
I don't like the look of him.
I reckon he must have suicide. It's been a pretty bad shock to him. He looks years older.
Where's that poor fellow now?
In the study. I put him there myself.
Dr. Armstrong, I suppose it was a suicide.
What else could it have been? It's the only logical explanation.
I don't know, but suicide.
Oh, I just had a thought. What if Mr. Owens is on the island? Mrs. Rogers may know, or he might have told her not to say anything. Pretty nasty thought, isn't it?
But would it have been possible for anyone to tamper with Marston's shirt without us seeing him?
Well, while it was sitting up there, anyone could have dropped a dollop of cyanide in it if they wanted to.
That doesn't make sense. It's not possible.
Oh, there you are, Doctor. I've been looking everywhere for you. Could you come upstairs and have a look at my daughter, please?
Yes, of course. She's not feeling under the weather.
She's...
Let's go. You won't leave the island without me, will you?
Just go along, Armstrong.
I wish the boat would come. I hate this place.
Yes, I think that the sooner we get into contact with the police, the better.
The police?
Well, police have to be informed in case of suicide in this paper one.
Oh yes, of course.
Still no sign of breakfast? What's that Mrs. Rogers doing?
Are you hungry, General? Feeling like breakfast?
Leslie, my dear.
No, I'm very faithful.
Oh, of course. I mistook you for my wife.
Oh,
I was waiting for her, you see.
but I thought your wife was dead long ago.
Yes, I thought so too, but I was wrong. She's here on this island.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning, Captain Lombard.
Morning. Boat here yet?
No.
It's late, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, good morning. You and I could have had it before breakfast Flynn?
Yes, too bad you overslept yourself.
You must have some good nerves to sleep like that.
Nothing makes me lose my sleep.
Didn't dream of any African natives by any chance, did you?
No, did you dream of inmates on Dartmoor?
Oh, look here, Captain Lombard, that isn't funny.
Well, you started it.
Ah,
Besides, I'm hungry. When's breakfast?
seems like the whole domestic staff has not gone on strike.
Oh, well, we can always forage for ourselves.
That's strange.
What is?
You remember we found one of these little fellows smashed last night?
Yes, not to leave 9.
That ought to leave 9. I'm certain there were 10 of them when we arrived.
So?
There are only 8.
So there are.
I think it's strange, don't you?
There were probably only 9 when we arrived. We only assumed there were 10 that didn't arrive. More than nothing. What's the matter?
Miss Rogers is dead.
What? What?
She died in her sleep. Mrs. Rogers thought she was still under the influence of the sleeping draught I gave her, and came down without disturbing her. She let the kitchen fire, then the dish too. Then I tried to pierce, she went up. It was alarmed by the look of her. She gave her a kiss to me. Turns out she was dead about 5 hours, I'd say.
What was it, Hart?
It's impossible to say, but it may have been.
After all, she had a pretty bad shock last night.
She did.
I suppose she could have been poisoned, Doctor.
It's perfectly possible.
With the same stuff as young Marston.
No, not cyanide. It would have to have been some kind of narcotic or nothing. What about barbiturates? Chloral or something like that.
You gave her some sleeping powders last night, didn't you?
Yes, I give her mild or subliminal.
Didn't give her too much, did you?
Certainly not what you mean.
All right, no offense. I just thought perhaps if she had a weak heart,
The amount I give her could not have hurt anyone.
And what did happen?
Without an autopsy, it's impossible to say.
If, for instance, this death had occurred with one of your private patients, what would have been your procedure?
Without any previous knowledge of the woman's state of health, I couldn't give a certificate at all.
She was a very nervous looking woman. She had bad fright last night. Perhaps it was heart failure.
Her heart certainly failed to beat, but what caused it to fail?
Conscience?
What exactly do you mean by that, Miss Brent?
Well, you all heard. She was accused together with her mother of having deliberately murdered her former employer, an old lady.
And you believe that to be true, Miss Brent?
Certainly. You all saw her last night. She broke down completely and fainted. The shock of having her wickedness brought home to her was too much for her. She literally died of fear.
It's a possible theory, but one cannot adopt it without more exact knowledge of the state of health. Like if there was a latent cardiac weakness.
Call it an act of God.
Oh no, Miss Brent.
You regard it as impossible that a sinner should be struck down by the wrath of God? I do not.
In my experience of ill-doing, Miss Brent, Providence leaves a work of conviction and chastisement to us mortals. The process is often fraught with difficulties. There are no shortcuts.
Let's be practical. What did the woman have to eat and drink last night before she went to bed?
Nothing.
Nothing? Not a cup of tea or a glass of water? I'll bet you she had a cup of tea, that sort always does.
Mrs. Rogers assures me she had nothing whatever.
She might say so.
Oh, so that's your idea?
Well, you heard the accusations last night. What if it's true? Miss Brent thinks it is for one. Mrs. Rogers and her daughter did do that old lady, and they're feeling quite happy. Well, they know there are no immediate danger to them. Then some lunatic goes and spills the beans. What happens? It's the daughter that cracks goes to pieces. You didn't see Mrs. Rogers hanging about when she was coming to, not all motherly solitude, not in her heart's life she wasn't. And that's the position. They've done a murder and got away with it. Now, when all is said and done, it's the daughter that hasn't the nerve to brazen it out. So, she's a living danger to her mother. And Mrs. Rogers, she knows that. So what does she do to her? She puts a nice little something into a nice cup of tea. And once Miss Rogers has had it, she takes the cup, saucer, washes it, and tells the doctor she ain't had nothing.
No, a woman wouldn't do that. Not to her own daughter.
You'd be surprised, Miss Claythorne, what some people would do.
You'll pardon me, miss. I'm getting on with breakfast. I'm afraid I'm not much of a hand as a cook. See, it's lunch that's worrying me. Would cold tongue and gelatine be satisfactory? And there's tinned fruit and cheese and biscuits.
Yes, that will be fine, Mrs. Rogers.
Lunch? we shan't be here for lunch, and when the hell is that boat coming?
Miss Lord! You'll pardon me, but the boat won't be coming.
Excuse me?
Fred Narracott so we see it before 8. Do you require anything else, miss?
No, thank you, Mrs. Rogers.
And it's not Mrs. Rogers. Here she is, making breakfast and calling, talking about lunch, and then she says the boat will be coming. How the hell does she know?
Miss
What?
Oh, don't you see? She's dead. She's just carrying on automatically as a good set of
If you ask me, she's pulling fast now.
Look, the really significant thing is the failure of the boat to arrive. It means we're being deliberately cut off from gaining help.
Little time.
Sleep well, General?
We've got little time left. We mustn't waste it discussing things that don't matter.
What do you think's taking Ericon so long?
I think the ubiquitous Mr. Owen has given orders.
Told them it's all a practical joke or something of the like? Why wouldn't you believe it? Soldiers Island has a reputation for crazy parties. And Ericon knows there's plenty of food and drink on the island. He knows it'll be alright for a couple days.
This is crazy.
But can't we light a bonfire or something?
So all signals have been provided against the most likely.
But can't we do something?
Yes, we can find the little joker who saved his plan. Because I'll bet you anything he's somewhere on the island. Because, and in my opinion, he's as mad as a hatcher and as dangerous as a rattlesnake.
Hardly a good simile, Captain Lombard. At least the rattlesnake warns of its approach.
A warning? My God, a warning! This is our warning! The 10 little soldier boys! There were 10 of us after Ericon left the island, weren't there? 10 little soldier boys going out to die, and one choked his little self. Marston choked on his drink. 9 little soldier boys sat up very late. One overslept himself, and then there were 8. Miss Rogers slept in this morning because she was dead.
Then you mean he wants to kill us all? No.
Yes, my dear, I think he does.
It all fits with the rocket.
Oh, no! It's a coincidence. It must be a coincidence.
There are only 8 little soldier boys here. I suppose that's a coincidence, too. What about you, Glor? What do you think?
I don't like it. But there's no one else on the island. I'm not so sure of that. This is terrible.
None of us are going to get off this island!
Can't somebody shut up, Grandpa?
Don't you agree with me, Sir Lawrence?
Up to a point, yes.
Well, the sooner we get to work, the better. Come on, Armstrong. Come on, Glor. We'll make quick work of it.
I'm ready. Nobody's got a revolver by any chance because it's too much to cope for.
Well, I happen to.
Always. Carry that about with you.
I've been in some tight places in the past.
Probably never been in a tighter place than you are in today. There is a homicidal maniac loose on the island. Probably has a whole arsenal of things on him. And he'll use it.
You may be wrong there, Lord.
Many homicidal maniacs are quiet and assuming people.
Yes, delightful fellows.
You never guess there's anything wrong with them. Well, if it happens to be that case, Doctor, we'll leave it to you now. I suggest we search the island while Lava does the house.
House should be easy. No sliding panels or secret doors.
Mind he doesn't get to you before you get him.
So, probably fine. You two had better watch out. Remember, one got left behind.
Oh, come along, Armstrong.
Though an energetic young fellow, Captain Lombard.
Don't you think he's right? If there is someone on the island, they'll be bound to find him. It's practically bare rock.
I think this problem requires brains rather than bronze.
Where are you going?
Sit in the sun, my dear, and think.
Where did I put that steam wool?
Is it upstairs? So I'll go see if I can find it.
No, I'll go. I know where it's likely to be.
I am glad Captain Lombard has a revolver.
They're all wasting time.
Do you think so?
Yes. It's much better to just sit here and wait.
For what?
Till the end, of course. I wish I could find Elizabeth.
Your wife?
Yes. I loved her very much. Of course, I was a lot older than she was. She was only 27. music and plays together. She teased him to make fun of him. I was pleased. I thought she'd taken a motherly interest in the boy. Damn fool, wasn't I? No fool is an old fool. You know, it was exactly like a book, the way I found out. While I was off in France, she'd written to the both of us and put the letters in the wrong envelopes, so I knew.
Oh no.
Oh, it's quite all right, my dear. It was a long time ago. But you see, I loved her very much. I believed in her. I trusted her. I didn't say anything to him. I just let it build in here. A slow, murderous rage.
I wonder what those others are doing.
I sent him to his death.
Oh?
It was quite easy. Mistakes were being made all the time. All anyone would say was that I lost my nerve a bit, made a blunder, sacrificed one of my best men. Yes, it was quite easy. Leslie never knew. He just carried on as normal, but nothing was quite real anymore. She died of pneumonia. She had a heart-shaped face, gray eyes, and brown hair that curled.
Oh, don't.
Yes, I guess it was murder. Curious thing, murder. I'd always thought of myself as a law-abiding man. Of course, that's not how I felt at the time. Damned young hypocrite. I liked the boy. I trusted him. Of course, that's not how I felt. Well, you know.
What do you mean?
We're all going to die.
I don't know.
You're not there yet. You haven't come to the sweet relief when you know you've done with it all. You can find it.
General.
Don't talk. I just want to sit up there and wait for Leslie to come for me.
Well, study's all clear. No secret passages, one corpse.
Oh, don't!
You do look nervous. What's the matter? A drink to steady your nerves?
A drink? 2 corpses in the house at 9 o'clock in the morning, and all you say have a drink? An old man going like crackers, have a drink. 10 people accused of murder, that's all right, have a drink. Everything's fine so long as you have a drink.
You are. Hands up. What's the matter, my sweet?
I'm not just sweet.
I rather thought you were.
You can think again.
Well, you don't really mean us. Us rogues and murderers.
Rogues and murderers!
All right, so you won't have a drink, and you aren't for the company of rogues and murderers. I'll go finish searching the house then.
That's a young man. Couldn't find it anywhere. Are you alright?
I'm worried about the general. He really is ill, I think.
Looking out for the boat, General! His sinners found him out.
Oh, don't!
He must face facts.
Can any of us afford to throw stones?
Even if his wife was no better than she should have been, and she must have been a depraved woman, he had no right to take judgment into his own hands.
What about Beatrice Taylor?
Who?
That was the name, wasn't it?
You're referring to the absurd accusation about myself?
Yes.
Now that we are alone, I have no objection to telling you the facts of the case. Indeed, I should like you to hear them. It is not a fit subject to discuss before gentlemen, so naturally I didn't say anything last night. That girl, Beatrice Taylor, she was in my service. I was very much deceived in her. She had nice manners and was clean and willing. Of course, all that was sheer hypocrisy. She was a loose girl with no morals, disgusting. It was some time before I found out she was what they call in trouble. It was a great shock to me. Her parents were decent folk too, who had brought her up strictly. I'm glad to say they didn't condone her behavior.
What happened?
She took her own life, drowned.
How old was she?
17.
Only 17.
Quite old enough to know how to behave. I told her what a load of prey thing she was. I told her that she was beyond the pale and that no decent person would let her into the house. I told her that that child would be the child of sin and would be branded all of its life. And that man would naturally not dream of marrying her. I told her that I felt soiled by ever having her
You told a girl 17 all that.
Of course. I'm glad to say I broke her down utterly.
Poor little devil.
I have no patience with this indulgence towards sin.
And then I suppose you turned her out of the house.
Of course.
She didn't dare go home. What did you feel like when you found she drowned herself?
Feel like?
Yes, didn't you blame yourself?
Of course not. I have nothing with which to reproach myself.
I believe you really feel like that. That makes it even more horrible.
My cousin balanced. The heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made, and the net which they hid is their own pit table. The Lord is known by the judgment he executed, and the wicked is snared by the work of his own hand.
Breakfast is ready.
The wicked shall be turned into hell.
Do you know what we have on this? Breakfast is ready.
When the wounded cry, and the sauce is made in the midst.
Mr. Law and Dr. Armstrong
All
are
the
outstanding.
sisters you see shall
I wouldn't bother about them.
lay away their robes and put on their worded garments. They shall clothe themselves with
Shall we go
shame.
in?
I'm not hungry.
Breakfast is ready.
They shall tremble at every moment and sink upon the ground and be astonished at
Reading aloud, Miss Brent.
Yes, it's my custom to read a portion of the Bible every day.
Very good habit, I'm sure. What luck did you have?
There's no cover in the islands. No caves. No one can hide anywhere.
Oh, did you find anything, Lamba?
No, house is empty. There's no one in here but us.
Well, breakfast is getting cold.
Oh, breakfast. Breakfast, Flora. You've been bothering about breakfast all morning. Come on, let's eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die, or maybe even today.
You ought to be ashamed of such levity, Lombard.
Oh, come on, General. Breakfast! Breakfast, I say, good sir. Up and at it. Come on, breakfast. God! There's a knife in Mackenzie's back!
He's dead! But he can't be. Who could have done it? There's only us on the island.
Exactly, my dear. Don't you realize that this clever and cunning criminal is only comfortably one stage ahead of us? That he knows exactly what we plan to do and changes his plans accordingly. There's only one place, you know, where a successful murderer could hide and have a reasonable chance of getting away with it.
One place where?
Well, here in this room, Mr. Owen is one of us.
What you said this morning. I think you were right. The stabbed murderer is one of us. I think I know who it is.
Well,
Have you heard of the Lizzie Burden case in America? Old couple killed with an axe, chopped in the middle of their heads. It was incredible. So incredible that they acquitted her, but they never found any other explanation.
then your solution is Miss Emily Brent.
She's mad, religious now. We must watch her.
I'm confused. I thought your suspicions were in a different quarter.
Yes, but I changed my mind, and I'll tell you why. Because she's not scared. And she's the only one with it. Why? Because she knows quite well she's in now danger. Hush. Vincent, coffee. It's cold in here. Yes, you can't believe this when you think what a peaceful day it was this morning.
Have the Lombard and Mrs. Rogers still out?
Yes, but no boat should put out in this.
course, always a chance for lunch.
All the same, it says that can't be true. It seems like a nightmare. What are we going to do about it?
We must hold an informal court of inquiry. We must be able to eliminate some innocent people.
You haven't a hunch of any kind, have you, Miss Claythorne?
If Miss Claythorne suspects one of us, then this is a rather awkward question.
I'm sure it isn't any of you. If you ask me who I suggest, I'd say Dr. Armstrong.
Armstrong.
Yes, because don't you see? She's had far and away the best chance to kill Mrs. Rogers. It's terribly easy for her as a doctor to sneak her an overdose of sleeping stuff.
But someone else gave her the brandy.
Her mother had a good opportunity of administering a drug.
It's not Mrs. Rogers. She hasn't the nerve nor the money to pull this stunt. And besides, can't you see she's scared stiff? Ah! Oh, yes, I'm coming. Okay.
Something like a storm out there.
It's only you.
Who did you think it was? Beatrice Taylor?
No hope of rescue until the storm dies down. Oh, is that coffee? I'm taking a coffee now, you see.
Such restraint in the face of danger is nothing short of heroic.
I do not, of course, profess to be a weather prophet, but I think that it is very unlikely, even if the weather dies down, that a boat could reach us within 24 hours. Even if it move our plight, the sea still has to go down.
Awful that.
Perhaps if anyone's a swimmer, could he swim to the mainland?
Not in this weather. You'd be dashed on the rocks and drowned.
Suppose so.
Drown. Drown in the pond.
I beg your pardon, Miss Brent.
After dinner now?
Well, I could light a fire if you'd like.
Yes, please.
Sounds keen, Rogers.
Oh, does anyone know what's become of these two curtains here?
Really, Rogers, have you gone back too?
Well, the scarlet oil silk, they're very nice.
The curtains?
Has anyone seen the curtains? Scarlet oil silk curtains?
I hide.
Sorry, no.
It's no matter. I just thought it was odd. I'll get a few lots of colored sticks and get a nice fire going.
Oh, she's awfully wet. I wonder if she would like some hot coffee. Mrs. Rogers! Mrs. Rogers! Mrs. Rogers! Mrs. Rogers!
What's become of Armstrong?
She went up to her room to rest.
Someone's probably batted her one by now.
I suppose she had the good sense to bolt her door.
It won't be so easy now that we're all on guard.
I would advise you not to be so confident, Miss Bloor. I would like shortly to impose certain rules of safety, ones I think that we should all adopt.
Against who?
Against each other. We are all in very grave danger. Of the 10 who came to this island, 3 are dead. There are 7 of us now. 7 little soldier boys.
One of whom is a bogus little soldier boy.
Exactly.
Well, in spite of what Miss Claythorne said just now, I'd say that you, Sir Lawrence, and Dr. Armstrong are above suspicion. She's a well-known doctor. You're known all over England.
Miss Bloor, that proves nothing at all.
Doesn't it?
Judges have come mad before now. So have doctors. So have policemen.
You're here. Well, did you want anything?
She'd rather make herself a nice cup of tea. What about Dr. Armstrong? Shall we take her over?
I can take it if you like.
I don't know, I need to change.
Yes, you ought to. You'll catch a cold.
I think Dr. Armstrong might prefer to see me. She might not admit you, what with your revolver.
Yes. I wanted a word with you about that.
You do you?
Yes. I want to know why you brought a revolver here on what's supposed to be a little social visit.
All right. Got a letter from... That's not the point. The point is, I've been in some tight places. It's a nice feeling to have a gun handy, don't you agree?
Well, we don't carry them. Now I want the truth about this gun.
What a damn suspicious fellow you are.
I know a fishy story, but I hear one. It's about that damn revolver that's huge to go to say.
All right. Well, I got a letter from Mr. Owen. He said I had a reputation for being a good man in a tight spot. And said he was hosting a party and that there might be some trouble. Said I'd be all right if I kept my eyes open.
I'd never fall in for that.
Well, I did, all right. I was bored. God, I was bored.
Too vague for my liking.
Yes, that was the fun of it. It was the curiosity.
Curiosity killed the cat, Captain Mama.
Yes, quite.
Oh, do go and change, please.
All right, all right. The maternal instinct, I think it's called.
Don't be ridiculous.
That's a tall tale. If it's true, why didn't he tell it to us last night? I mean, he must have thought this was exactly the kind of emergency he was prepared for.
Perhaps it is.
It was just Mr. Owen's little bit of cheese fitting in the trap with the rest of us. Well, if it's true, then he's a wrong at that man. I wouldn't trust him a yard.
Are you such a good judge of truth?
We have to get out of here. We must before it's too late.
One thing we must not do, Doctor, is give way to nerves.
I'm sorry. Rather kiss the physician, heal thyself. But I've been overworked lately and run down.
Sleeping badly?
Yes. I keep dreaming of hospitals, and operations, and a knife in my throat.
Real nightmares.
Yes. But do you ever dream that you're in a court sentencing a man to death?
Are you by any chance referring to a man called Edward Seton? I should tell you I should lose no sleep. No sleep over Edward Seton. A particularly brutal, cold-blooded murder.
The jury liked him. They were inclined to let him off. I could see, however, I cooked Seton's goose.
It's rather cold in here, don't you think?
Yes, I wish Mrs. Rogers would hurry up.
Yes, where is that thing?
She said to make you get some sticks.
Sticks? Sticks, my God, sticks! How many are there? Are there only six? Only five.
5!
Rogers and Lombard!
Oh, no! Mrs. Rogers! Mrs. Rogers!
Spread the floor off like a madman.
Have you seen Rogers?
No, why should I?
2 more soldiers have gone.
2?
I thought it was you!
Wait.
Well,
What is it? Discovery? She's dead. No!
How?
Cut in the middle of her head with an axe. And they must have gotten her while she was bent over my box.
One got into Chancery. And then there were 6.
Vera, calm down, Vera, calm down. Listen, she'll be all right. What's next? Bees? Do they keep bees on the island?
I don't know, Lombard.
Well, that's the next verse, isn't it? 6 little soldier boys playing in the hive. A bumblebee stung one, and then there were 5. A bumblebee stung one. We all look pretty spry. Unless... My God, you don't think. A hypodermic syringe.
Oh, she was sitting there. What of us?
Of us.
Which of us?
This is good. I like it. They're doing a really good job.
Five little soldier boys sitting in a row, watching each other, waiting for the blow. New version, up to date.
I hardly think this is the moment of facetiousness.
Got to relieve the gloom somehow. Damn that election plan coming down. Let's invent a new round A. Call it suspicions. A suspects B, B suspects C, and so on. Let's start with Glore. I know who your fancy is, Glore. Sticks out of mine. It's me, isn't it?
I wouldn't contradict you.
You're quite wrong, you know. Abstract justice isn't my line.
All I say is you've acted suspiciously from the start. You've told 2 different stories, brought your revolver to the island, and now you said you've lost it.
I haven't.
But that's a likely story.
What do you think I've done with this? I've already suggested you search me.
Oh, you don't have it on you, and you're clever for that, but you know where it is.
Oh, and I'm packed and ready for the next
I shouldn't
race.
be so surprised.
Well, use your brain, Glore. If I wanted to, I could shoot the lot of you right here.
Yes, but that's not the big idea, is it?
Oh, the crazy touch? Please, I'm sane enough.
The doctor says that there are some lunatics who would never know we're lunatics. It's true enough in this case. We can't just sit here doing nothing. I mean, surely there must be something we can do if we let bonfire in this weather.
I'm afraid it is a question of time and patience.
The weather will clear, then we can do something like a bonfire, heliograph, signal.
Time? A question of time? We come up to full time, we should all be
I
dead!
think the precautions we have now adopted will be adequate.
We shall all be good, I tell you. All but one. He's thinking now!
Poor Louise. Was it police? Was it nerves that made you were in, Doctor?
No. Drink. I used to be a heavy drinker. God help me. I was drunk while operating quite a simple operation. And I remember her now. A big, heavy, countrified woman. And I killed her.
So I was right.
Her sister knew, of course. But she was loyal to me. Or to the hospital. I gave it up. I gave it up altogether when I first studied nervous diseases.
Quite successfully.
One or two lucky shots. One or two great results for important women. They talk to their friends, and for the past year or two, I've been so busy I've hardly known which way to turn. I've gotten to this hole.
And then along come Mr. Owens, and down come Cradle and Doctor and all.
Will you stop it down, Mysterio joking? This isn't funny!
Everyone, please, we cannot afford to quarrel.
Fine by me.
It's just terrible and activity that gets on my nerves.
We are adopting, I feel convinced, the best precautions possible. So long as we all stay in this room with each other, a repetition of the tragedies that have occurred must be impossible. Now, we've all submitted to research, therefore we know no man is carrying a gun or knife, nor has any man got cyanide or any form of drug in their possession. I repeat, if we stay in this room with each other, nothing can happen.
But we can't go on like this. We shall need food and sleep. That's what I say.
Obviously, the murderer's only chance to get one of us is to get one of us separated from the rest. So long as we prevent that, we are safe.
Safe?
You're quite quiet, Vera.
There isn't anything to say. Oh, I wonder what the time is. This is awful waiting for the hours to go by, and yet feeling like they may be your last. What time is it?
8:15.
Is that all?
How are the candles holding up?
There's a whole package in the other room. Storm's dying down a bit. What do you think, Doctor? Sorry, Doctor. Sir Lawrence, what about you?
Perhaps we shouldn't be too optimistic.
The murderer's got everything on his side. Even the wettest is equally imperfectly with his hands. What does anyone say about some food?
Not ravenous myself.
Can't say I'm hungry.
Go have a guzzle by yourself, Lord.
If you like, I could open some tongue and make some coffee.
I would appreciate that. But you four stay here. It's right, isn't it?
Not quite. You see, it might be inadvisable to eat or drink something you had prepared out of our sight.
Oh. You like it, do you?
Well, it's not a question of likes or dislikes.
Nothing seems to get past you, Sir Lawrence. If you don't mind me saying, you're my man.
It's hard of a time, Captain Lombard, for any of us to take the luxury of taking offense.
Well, I don't think it's Lore. She doesn't seem to have the imagination for this job, and if you do, I take my hat off. You're a damn fine actor.
Thank you for nothing.
And it's not the doctor. They don't seem to have the nerves for this one. Now, Vera has the nerves, but she also strikes me as eminently sane. She wouldn't do all this without a solid reason.
Thank you. I thought of something.
Grapes, animal, vegetable, or mineral.
That woman says she's a police officer, but we have no proof of that. She only admitted to it after her name was mentioned on the gramophone record. And before that, she was pretending to be a South African millionaire. But what do we really know about her? Nothing at all.
Of course, she's a copper. Look at her feet.
I've had quite enough Captain Lombard.
Right. Now we know where we stand. Oh, and Doctor? Vera's your fancy. Just saying, haven't you seen the way she shoots you looks from across the room? Yes, it all works out quite prettily. I suspect Tom, I suspect Judge, Laura suspects me, Vera suspects you. What about you, Sir Lawrence? Who do you suspect?
Quite early in the day, I came to a certain conclusion. It seemed everything that had happened pointed quite unmistakably to one person. I I'm still of that same opinion.
Which one?
Well, no. No, I think it would be advisable to say this person's name at the current time.
Inadvisable in the public interest.
Exactly.
What about that food idea?
I can't say I'm hungry.
You know, why don't I go out and bring in a tin of biscuits?
Good idea. Oh, Lord.
What?
An unopened tin.
You know, I wonder what happened to those curtains. The one that Mrs. Rogers missed.
By this greatest stretch of imagination, I can't imagine what a murderer would want with a scarlet oiled silk curtain.
Things seem to have been disappearing. Miss Brent lost the skein of knitting wool.
Oh, great. So whoever he or she is a kleptomaniac as well.
Here we are.
We're going to have to search you.
I suppose.
Thank you.
Have one, Miss Claythorne? Thank you.
Come on, Lord will wolf the whole lot.
I don't see why we need to be so funny about it. It's no use starving ourselves. How are we off cigarettes?
I'm out.
I haven't got any.
Luckily, I'm a pipe smoker.
I have a whole box upstairs in my suitcase. I'll go get them. I can do with a cigarette myself. Oh, be sure to say where you are.
Foreboding.
What's that supposed to happen?
Good biscuits.
No, they're quite good.
Where are they? These?
She's in celery.
That girl ought to have had some.
That might not have happened if she did.
And those in a bad state.
I don't know if I'd agree with you. Miss Claythorne strikes me as a very cool and collected young lady. Quite remarkably so.
So that's your idea. Vera is the guilty party?
Hardly likely beer.
You and I, Doctor, see very different sides of Miss Claythorne.
What does anyone say about a pot of whiskey?
Good idea, provided we tackle an unopened bottle.
Yes.
Yes?
I'm not finding any.
But you can't find an unopened bottle.
Look,
Perhaps we
You've all
can
been
look in the
drinking
back.
too much.
I mean, sure, but we have to open it out here, the unopened bottle.
But you suppose taking...
Vera!
Vera!
Where are you?
Miss Claythorne, are you okay?
Say something!
Talk to us! Miss Claythorne? Miss Claythorne, where are you? Miss Claythorne?
What's that? Who's there?
I'm here!
why tell me how to hide? It's awful enough. You don't know who you are. You don't know where anyone is.
It was that damn draft on the stairs. Here, I got the lighter.
Where's Dr. Armstrong?
Don't bother us, man. Just get more candles.
I was horrified that that were right around my throat.
What did?
The window was up in my room. It blew out the candle as I opened the door. The long strip of seaweed touched my throat. I felt in the dark. I was being strangled by a wet hand.
I don't wonder why you screamed.
Who hung the seaweed there?
I don't know. When I find out, they'll be sorry they were ever born.
Who's that?
It's alright, Miss Claythorne. It's only me.
Here we are. We fired that shot! He's dead! Shot through the head!
Oh my God, it's a chantry. I didn't know it fall.
Miss Claythorne.
Vera?
You hung the seaweed there. You got me out of the way. You got me to go upstairs. You did all that so that you could kill that helpless old man in the dark. You're mad. All of you
3 little soldier boys sat in a row, thinking as they guzzle, who's the next to go?
Oh, Phillips, all right, Miss Playful, and I don't mind joking on a full stomach.
I must say I was hungry, but all the same, I don't think I shall ever fancy tin swim
You're
again.
like a new woman. I was wanting that for you.
You've been nearly 24 hours without food. It does lower the morale.
Everything's different than the light of day.
You mustn't forget there's a dangerous homicidal lunatic loose on the island.
Why doesn't one feel jittery about it anymore?
Because now we know, beyond any possible doubt who it is, eh, Lord?
That's right.
It was the uncertainty before, watching each other, wondering which.
Allowing Miss Armstrong, what do you think happened to her?
Well, we know what she wants us to think has happened to her.
What exactly did you find?
One shoe, just one shoe set prettily upon the balcony. Inference, Dr. Armstrong wants us to think she's gone and killed herself.
It's all very circumstantial, even down to the one fallen soldier boy on the mantle.
I think that's rather overdoing it. If a woman would do that, she was going to drown herself.
How but she had to make it appear as though she were the 7th victim.
How extraordinary to think that there are 5 dead bodies in there when we've been eating tin tongue.
Oh, feminine disregard for facts. There are 6 dead bodies, and they are not all in there.
No, she's right, there are only 5.
What about Miss Rogers?
I've counted Miss Rogers, she makes the 5th.
No, Laura, listen to me. Marston 1, Miss Rogers 2, Mackenzie 3, Mrs. Rogers 4, Emily Brent 5, Walgrave 6.
7, 8, 9. Armstrong 10. That's right. Sorry, old man.
Wouldn't it be an idea if we brought Miss Rogers down with the rest of them?
I'm a detective, not an undertaker, Lombard.
For heaven's sake, stop talking about bodies. Once is Armstrong murdered them.
We should have realized it was Armstrong straight away.
Yes. But how did she get a revolver?
Hell if I know.
What exactly happened during the night?
Well, after you went crazy and suspected us, and locked yourself in your room, we all thought we ought to do the same thing and locked ourselves in our rooms.
Then at night, I heard a noise. Checked Laura's room. She was there all right. Checked Armstrong's room. Empty. That's when I went to your room and told you to sit tight no matter what happened. Then I made my way out here. Balcony window was open and my gun was sitting prettily beside it.
But why the devil should Armstrong chuck the revolver away?
Either it was an accident or she's completely gone crazy.
Where do you think she is?
Lurking somewhere, waiting for a time to strike.
You ought to search the house.
And walk into an ambush.
Oh, I never thought of that.
What's the use in talking? What are we going to do?
In my opinion, sit here and do nothing.
Lucky I want to go after the doctor.
What a dog of the bulldog breed you are, Lord. And between friends and without any prejudice. You did go in for that spot of perjury now, didn't you?
Well, suppose it makes no difference now. Lando was innocent, all right. The gang squared me, and between us, we put him away. Mind you, I wouldn't be telling you this if it wasn't...
We're all in the same boat.
Well, I couldn't admit it in front of Mr. Justice Walgrave, could I?
No, hardly.
I say, that fellow Sutton, do you believe he was innocent?
I'm certain of it. The old judge wanted a reason for him out of the way.
I suppose.
Well, I'm glad you came off your virtuous perch, Lord. You made a tidy bit out of that.
It's nothing like what I ought to have done, but then again, it mean not. I did get my promotion, though.
Yes, and poor Landro got penal servitude for life and died in jail.
I could tell he was going to die, could I?
No, that was your bad luck.
His, you mean?
No, it was your bad luck. Because of that, you're here with us and may have your life cut short, unfortunately soon.
What? Me by Armstrong? I'll watch it.
Better. There are only 3 soldier boys left.
Hello, what about you, Lombard?
I'll be fine. I have my revolver back.
Ah, yes. Now listen, who's to say you haven't had this revolver the entire time?
Oh, this same old record again? Not enough room in your head for more than one idea at a time.
No, but it's a good one.
Yes, and you're sticking to it.
And I would have thought of a better story than that if I were you.
I only wanted something simple that would fit in that policeman head of yours.
Oh, what's wrong with the police?
Nothing now that you've left the force.
Now listen here, Captain Lombard, you're an honest man.
No, please. None of us are honest.
Then you want to do the square thing and chuck your revolver out there.
Don't be an ass.
I said I'd go to the house looking for Armstrong, haven't I? If I do that, will you let me your revolver?
No, it's my revolver and I intend to keep it.
Then you know what I'm beginning to think.
Oh, you aren't beginning to think anything more. You've been thinking it ever since last night. I'm them. I'm Mr. Unknown Owen.
I won't contradict you.
You're quite wrong, you know.
Oh,
and if you aren't silent
you're
right now...
both behaving like a pair of children.
Sorry, teacher.
Of course Captain Lombard is the unknown Owen is Armstrong, and crime. Bold as a soldier boys going out to sea, a red herring swallowed one, and then there were three. Don't you see the subtlety of it? A red herring? Prince Armstrong committed suicide, but it's only a red herring, so really she isn't dead.
That's very ingenious.
To my mind, it's absolute proof. You see, it's all mad because she's mad. She takes a strange, childish, crazy pleasure in sticking to the rhyme and making everything happen that way. Dressing up the judge, killing Rogers when she was chopping up sticks, using a hypodermic needle on Miss Brent, when she might as well have shrugged her. She's got to make it all fit in.
And now that you know that, you might as well look and see if there's any clues to the next. 3 little soldier boys walking in the zoo. A bear hugged one and then there were 2. She'll have a hard time with that when there's no zoo on the island. Now, what does anyone say about a nice bottle of beer?
You in your stomach again, Lord? Please, it'll get you killed.
There are plenty of beer in the kitchen of our
Yes, in the first place, someone would put a lethal dose in a nice bottle of beer. But Lord got hers. The booby trap. The wire across the door frame connected to something heavy up above.
Is she
Dead? Yes, a bear claw fell on her head.
up there? How ghastly is this awful childishness?
What a fool Lord was.
And now there are 2.
Yes, we'll have to be quite careful.
We shan't do it! She'll get this! We'll never get off this island!
So I haven't been yet.
Don't you feel that there's someone now in this room watching us, watching and waiting?
That's just nerves.
Then you do feel it!
No, I don't.
Please don't let us get out of this house, anywhere! Perhaps the mothers will go and they might see us!
All right. Go up to the top of the island. It's sheer cliff on the far side. We'll be able to see if anyone approaches us from the house.
Anyone's better than staying here.
Won't you be rather cold in that dress?
I'd be cold if I were dead.
Quite right. Quick reconnaissance.
Please, Philip, be careful.
No, please, I'm not Lord. There won't be anything above me. Hello. What's this? There's something washed up on the rocks.
What?
Take a look.
Looks like a body. Armstrong's body.
Armstrong. Drowned at high water mark.
So there are only 2 on the island.
Yes. Now we know where we stand.
Now we know where we stand.
It was a neat trick you pulled with Lord. The old judge always said you were clever.
You!
So you did kill that kid after all.
I didn't! That's where you're wrong! Please believe me! Please listen to me!
All right. You better make it a convincing story.
It's not a story, it's the truth! I didn't kill that child! It was someone else!
Who?
A man. Peter's uncle. I was in love with him.
Keep going. This is getting interesting.
Don't sneer! It was hell! Absolute hell! Peter was born after his mother's death. If he'd been born a girl, he'd have forgotten everything.
Well-known tale of the wicked uncle.
Yes, he was wicked, and I didn't know. He said that he loved me, but he was too poor to marry. There was a rock crowd that Peter was always willing to swim to. Of course I wouldn't let him, it was dangerous. One day, we were on the beach, and I had to go back to the house for something I'd forgotten. When I got back, I saw Peter swimming out to the rock. I knew he had a chance, but Burns had got him already. I rushed towards him, but you tried to stop me. Don't be a fool, he said. I told the little ass he could do it.
And then?
I pushed past him, he tried to stop me, but I rushed out. I plunged in the sea and swam after Peter. He'd gone before I could get him.
And then everything went off all nice at the inquest. They called you a plucky girl and you kept quiet about Hugh's part in this business.
Do you think anyone would believe me? Besides, I couldn't. I really was in love with him.
Well, I will say you are an effective liar.
Why can't you believe the truth when you hear it?
Because I didn't kill Lord. And Armstrong's dead. Listen, I've broken most of the commandments in my time, but not murder.
Who would stand for murder when all those natives who have to die in Africa?
That's the fun part. I did it.
What do you mean?
Just once, mind you, I tried to play the hero. Left them all the food and supplies I had and made a break through the bush. By some feat of luck I had made it, but not in time to save my men. Before it got around that I deliberately killed them off, and there's life for you.
You would expect me to believe that, or you actually admitted the whole thing.
I know, I got such a kick out of watching the looks on their faces.
You can't fool me with a lie like that.
Blast you!
Why did I say fool? It's on your face, the face of a killer.
You can't fool me any longer.
Oh, my head.
Vera? You cunning girl! Oh, you young, lovely, and quite mad.
What's that? Who's that?
It's finally true. My 10 little soldiers rhyme. Yes, I rhyme. Oh, silence in the court! If you do not silence yourself, I shall have the court cleared! Oh, it's all right, my dear. It's the cause of justice. You'll get justice here. Oh, you thought I was dead. Armstrong said I was dead. That was the clever part of my plan. She said that we'd trap the murderer, that we'd fix my supposed death, so I'd be free to spy upon the guilty one. She came to meet me that night, with no suspicion. I sent her over the cliff with a push, so easily. Oh, she swallowed my red herring all right. You know, Miss Faithorn, all my life, I've wanted to take life. Yes, to take life. If I could get what enjoyment I could of sentencing the guilty to death. Oh, and I always enjoyed that. I always enjoyed it, but it wasn't enough. I wanted more. I wanted to do it myself, with my own hands. But I'm a judge of the High Court. I've got sense of justice in me. Between our sovereign lord the king and the prisoner at the bar, may true deliverance make. Guilty, yes, guilty. You were all guilty, you know, but the law couldn't touch you, so I had to take the law in my own hands. Silence in the court. Anthony Marston first. Then Mrs. Rogers, Barbertone in her brandy. Mackenzie, stabbed. Got Mrs. Rogers whilst in the back with an axe, and she was chopping sticks. Dubbed Emily Brent's coffee so she wouldn't feel the hypodermic syringe. Booby trapped for Floor. Floor was a fool. I always knew it would be easy to Floor. Returning the revolver was a clever touch. It made the end interesting. I always knew you two would suspect each other in the end. The only question was, who would win out? I banked on you, my dear, the female of the species. Besides, it's always more fun to have a girl in the end. Prisoner at the bar, have you anything to say why sentence should not be passed on you? Vera Elizabeth Claythorne, I sentence you!
Stop! I'm not guilty! I'm not guilty!
They all say that. Must plead not guilty, unless you want to go all out for a verdict of insanity. But you're not mad. I'm mad. You're not.
But I am innocent! I didn't kill that child! I never wanted to kill him! You're a judge, you know what Patterson is guilty and was innocent. I swear, I'm telling the truth!
Still insist that you didn't kill that young child. Perhaps you didn't. Well, doesn't match now much anyway, does it?
What?
Well, I can't spoil my lovely rhyme. My 10 little soldier boys, you're the last one. One little soldier boy left all alone. He went and hanged himself, and I must have my hanging. Ah!
Awesome.